I'm Rakesh. Thank you for being here today to share what I call Vedic leadership. Vedic leadership is different from what the world is following and is suffering because they don't know what the Vedic knowledge is all about. So I begin with what is happening in the today's world. Basically, what it is saying, the dog is just turning around the net, trying to chase its own tail. So, this is the modern individuals and corporates trying to chase something which they already have, not knowing where it is and how to get it. To get it is what you need is a knowledge about what you don't know. What you need to get it is Vedic knowledge. And if you know it, then it's the Vedic leadership. So in nutshell, what are the difference between the Western knowledge that we are following today to learn our own lives as well as the corporate world versus the Vedic leadership? The Western philosophy or the modern philosophy focuses on result. We want profit to be maximized, which as per Gita is a wrong direction. Vedic principles is action focused. What the human values are, what the ethics should be, and if you follow that, profit maximization will be a byproduct. You will maximize your profit by being human, by being ethical. It's a self-centric. Only the shareholders are what is gaining in today's world. It's inward looking self. Instead of empathy towards others, what this not only stakeholders but all stakeholders and the nature. If you take care of other stakeholders, take care of the nature, what you get in return is far more than what will you get by chasing the profit. The philosophy says separate and manage the parts. That's why the word divisions and different sections, you are just dividing it and trying to manage it without much integration. Every part is trying to maximize their own bit. In the process, the whole bit is never maximized. Whereas the Vedic principles are integrate, join, yoga, that is more than the sum of its part. That's the super radiance. When you generate more than what individually you could, that's the yoga part. It's the process focused, one size fits all. Whereas in Vedic principles, it's very people focused, humanitarian, human intelligence. People are assumed, rather they have intelligence, and hence you must allow them to use that intelligence, and that's only the organization flows much more beautiful. It follows on efficiency, improve the process, how can we gain more, versus Vedic principles which are effectiveness, how you can be more effective. And when you are effective, efficiency comes behind it. It's the root of all ills facing the mankind, and Vedic knowledge or Vedic principles are path towards the happier organization and the universe. So probably the path to the individual peace and the world peace. So that's the difference. Let's see during the presentation if I can bring you to these points to agree that yes, these principles exist. So Vedic Gyan, what Nicole always says and Maharshi says, and I fully believe, is do less and achieve more. And the example is, if you are swimming in a river towards the direction of the flow, it will be much easier versus if you are swimming against the tide. So yes, sometime you may require to swim against the tide, but not all the time. And that's the trick. How can you find the nature's flow and align yourself with the nature? It's the recipe for fulfilling your self-desires and the corporate desires. Not like a dog chasing its own tail. You will know where the tail is and how to get it. Just stop. do less and you will gain more. If you think in Vedic style, you may become CEO. It's like taking responsibility and authority follows. But if you wait for the authority, it may never come. So the simple success is just take the responsibility. Believe and be in your dreams and you will achieve them. Simple mantra for success. So there are two types of leaders. One are imposed because of their seniority, because somebody assigned them, because of they are from the same family. So they gain a position and everybody has to listen to them because they have the power and they have the position. And second type of leaders are who are born leaders, who get the followers behind them and make a success out of them. So they become a natural leader. And that's what I call the natural leaders, earning your leadership position. A very simple definition. What is the natural leaders? Natural leaders are those who have followers, who are inspired by your vision. So followers are there because they are inspired by your vision and not because of your power, but because of the power of your vision. And believe that their success lies in your success. So they find that if you achieve your vision, they will find many of their desires and wishes getting fulfilled in the process. And if you can have that kind of a vision, you are the natural leader, and then everything follows because other people are working to realize your dream. That's the Vedic leadership I call the natural leadership. Coming to very quickly to Maharshi's style of explanation, I call it journey to dream destination. So everybody has a dream and you want to reach there. So it's the journey. That journey has three components. One component, which Maharshi calls it Rishi, and he also uses the words like Rishi, Devta and Chandas, knower, known, process of knowing, or subject, object and path of knowing. Depending upon the context, these terms get used. So the person, the leader or individual is that Rishi who is trying to achieve or realize the vision that he has. So that vision is first in the mind, which unmanifest in terms of an object outside. And what you see, that observed object is what is there. The more you know is the clearer the picture in your mind. The clearer the picture in mind, quicker to get that image into the manifest. So the trick of the trade lies when a subject or the knower or the rishi knows what is he chasing, what is the known, what is the chandas. The more clarity you have in your mind, the more will emerge quickly out there. So that is what is called the chandas and the rishi, or known and the known, or in the corporate context, the leader and what is the dream. Putting in exactly the pictures and images you would have seen in the university, there is a knower, there is a process of knowing, and there is a known. Coming together of these three is what is called Rishi, Devta and Chandas. And if Rishi and Chandas are together, the Rishi knows what he is looking for, has the clarity, the Chandas or the Devtas will open up in front of you and the path emerges. You don't have to chase the path, it will emerge for you. That's what this slide is all about. That I represent the same slide which was in the unit in the sequential way into this fashion, where you have a knower, the person who is seeking what his dream is, the known, what is the dream. When the two gets together, you get the knowledge. That is the knowing. So the knowledge is nothing but innocent product of knower knowing the known. And when the knower knows the known, the knowledge appears in front of you, and that's the knowledge. So it's a leadership success where you find harmonious synchronization of knower with known. This is the application I find what Maharshi teaches. How do you get the knowledge will come in front of you? There is no value of reading in the library or reading here and there. Once you have the clarity what you want, things emerge. And that's why there are so many businessmen who never went to the college, but they are immensely successful because they have a clarity what they want. So moving to further, what's missing in today's world? Why are we chasing like the dog was chasing something? What's missing? Why are we not able to achieve our desires and dreams? Because when you don't achieve your dreams, it leads to frustration. It leads to feeling of uneasiness, and that reflects in your behavior, that reflects into interpersonal relationship, and whole world starts getting frigidity and unhappiness and unhappy with each other, knowing for self rather than working for others. So there are three components as we discussed: knower, knowledge and known. Each one of them have two components, one which is the Vedic component and one which is the scientific component. In case of knower, there are two components which are I or me, the soul, versus mind, the body. So we get confused by saying I means this body. I means what I own. So this house is mine, this car is mine, this lady is my wife, this is my property. Everything is related to the physical manifestation towards your body. What is for me? That's your dream. That's your vision. So differentiating between I and me versus mine is a big difference which needs consciousness, which needs Vedic knowledge. That's what most of the people do not have. They live with the objective world, ignoring the manifested subjective world. The second component, the knowledge, has two components. What you can see within your five senses, which is very limited, and the large part of the universe which you cannot perceive with your five senses is unmanifest. So there is a manifest and unmanifest, and we bother for manifest and pay large amount of our consciousness towards manifest and ignore the understanding of unmanifest. The third component, the known, again has two components. Every journey or dream is a first time journey towards the unknown. We have to make unknown to the known. When you are going towards the unknown first time, you need a vision, what you are seeking. If you are traveling to a new address and you don't have an even address, how will you reach there? Even if you reach there, you won't know that I have reached there. So you need full address, and then you need a GPS. Mm-hmm. GPS is the navigation system. So it tells you you have reached this spot. GPS, one is commonly known full meaning, geographical positioning system. Then there is another meaning, Guru positioning system. Guru can be either somebody who has been there and guides you to be there, takes you there by hand holding you, guiding you there, or you need Vedic knowledge, a vision or a dream to reach there, or maybe both. Mm-hmm. So I call the gurus are those mentors in this world who have been there, understand, and not just coach who knows the theory. You need people who have been up there, experienced it, and then guides you how to make your journey to that place. So if you see the blue components, the mind, the manifest, and the unknowns, is what is today's world is focusing on. But they lack the green component, which is the Vedic Gyan. And with a half-cooked knowledge, not even half, a fraction of what is required, you are expecting to achieve your dreams. Foolishness, is it not? It's like a dog. It's like a dog, what he was trying to chase without knowing where it is and how it is. So moving to, and we will pick up each of the three components slightly more in detail. So first one, the dream, which most of the people want something but lack the clarity, lack the reasoning why we want it. So to begin with, you must have a dream. Otherwise, what will you realize? Unless you have a dream, what are you chasing? So you need to have a dream is the first step. Where are you going? Why are you going? And second, have the clarity. Dream should be clear. In absence of dream, they become contemplation of happiness. And then you say, if I get this car, I'll be very happy. If I get that position, I'll be very happy. If I get this, I'll be very happy. But once you get it, you realize that's not what happiness is. It's a contemplation. Then you move to the next one, to the next one. And that's like chasing of the dog. So you need to have a clarity what you are chasing. More and more clarity, easier you get it. So clarity is like very clean glass. You can see the mountain peaks, where you are going, what you want. So the two things which are emerging very clearly in the similar words, clarity of destination is what you want. Very clear that you know what you want. And purpose, why you want it. So why and what are two important parts of starting your journey. Once you know what you want and why you want, half the trick is done. Maybe more than half. So dreams are not what you see in the sleep. They are the ones that don't allow you to sleep. So Abdul Kalam was one of the presidents of India who just died about a year and a half ago. He was one scientist who took India to the moon, and he is saying that dreams are not what you see in sleep, but are the ones don't allow you to sleep. Those are the dreams. So the future belongs to those who have dreams and they like the beauty of their dreams. And there is another saying, if you have no goals, you will be working for someone who has goals.
Oh.
So either you have your own goals or you will be always working for someone, below someone who knows what he wants or she wants. So in terms of dreams, what is dream for the individual is same which is vision and mission for the organization. Parallel between individual and the corporates. Vision is how the success looks like. What do you feel when you are at the summit? When you have achieved your success, how do you feel it? What do you see around? And exactly that's what will manifest. What you don't see in your success will not be part of your success. It's very, very clear to the nature. What you dream is what you get. So dream carefully. Take everything that you want in your dreams. Mind deals with images only. Just saying words does not help. And that's one of the reasons when we tell to the kids or to anybody, don't do it. People will first make an image what to do and then will say what not to do. In the process, they like that image of what to do and they forget the remainder part don't. And hence it's meaningless to tell somebody don't do it. It's always good to say what to do and they will like it more. Higher the clarity, quicker the manifestation. You might have heard from Maharshi that there are 3 stages of consciousness. Lower stages, higher stages and the consciousness. So he splits into the 7 stages and the transcendental consciousness is called the middle layer. In the common text you will find subconscious, conscious and a higher consciousness. The subconscious mind is what stores your previous experiences. And these conscious mind, subconscious mind, the storage of your previous experiences, act as your intellect. And when the new information comes in front of you, you weigh against what is sitting in your subconscious and decide it's good or not good, it's right or wrong. And if you like it, you accept it, it gets added into your subconscious. And if you don't like it and you believe, oh, I don't agree with it, it goes out of the way. So all your knowledge and experiences gets accumulated into your subconscious mind. And intellect is one which acts as the gatekeeper to use based on previous experiences to accept, reject, or accept and reject. So when most of the time we are living with, so new information comes, we decide based on our prior experience, that is living with the past experience. You are living with what you already know. Whereas in the higher consciousness, and you have a dream, then it's like shaping your future. Your intuition, intellect turns towards intuition, and you can see where you are going. You have a clarity. You know this staircase will lead to my success, this one will not. And that makes the life faster, quicker to manifest. So what is vision? Vision should be inspiring and enthusing. It should inspire not only you, but many more people. And if they get inspired and enthused, you will have a crowd behind you like Maharshi did. It's not money alone. It's feeling of some sense of success. I am doing something good for the society, and hence that enthuses the people. It should be larger than life. Building the society, helping the society in a long run. And employees should find a sense of proudness to work for such an organization. And that becomes their aspiration. And they believe their needs will get met and their aspirations will get met if your vision unfolds and gets materialized. These three qualities of the vision is what gives you a status of being individual to the leader. The bigger the vision, the bigger the leader you are. So you see, there are two images out here. On the left, there is a person standing on the hilltop. And on the right, people are standing at the base of a big mountain. What is the difference? When you are standing at the hilltop, you can see which particular route, which particular lane and by-lane, where it starts, where there are obstacles on the way, where you should take a detour, where you should stop, and which particular combination of the directions will take you to the top. It gives you the clarity. That's the vision. Versus the second one, you are standing at the base with a desire to move up, not knowing absolutely which route goes where, then you are absolutely in the dark. You might reach at the top, you might not. So that's the difference with the vision, having a clear vision and versus not having a vision. So first step toward leadership, a clear image of what we seek in the long run. Perception. Everybody of us has a perception, and we use our subconscious mind to decide right and wrong. Take the image, the very simple one at the bottom. It's a 6. Somebody is standing on this side will read it as 6. Is standing on the other side will read it as a 9. And both are correct. Similarly, look at the picture above. There is a cylinder. And if you are standing perpendicular to the cylinder, you will see an orange shape. And if you are in line with the cylinder, you will see the circle. So this is true, and this is truth. And you look at the third image, same way, depends where you are standing. So life is not just one view or two view, multiplicity of view. And chances are many of them are correct. So believing that my version is the correct version is the absolute foolishness. You must accommodate the different perspective of so many people who come from different walk of life, different caste, different communities, different countries, different experience, different age. Get those viewed together, and chances are you can construct as close as possible to the truth, the reality. That's why there is a very famous proverb, unity in diversity. Unity in diversity. So what is the job of the leader? Unite the diverse views, rather than saying who is yes man of mine, keep it on the side, who are no man, throw them out. You must draw the multiple views, make up your mind, because now you have multiple views, your ability to comprehend multiplicity of those views and get as closer to the reality as possible. That is unity in diversity. That's the job of the leader. Second, translate this subjective knowledge into the level where common people who are not that evolved as the leader is and are living at the lower level of consciousness, can we translate that language into their language so that they understand, appreciate, and realize, yeah, this is the right thing. So their intellect allows them to pass through and goes into their subconscious mind. And that is the job of the leader, to translate from complete gray to black and white. So that the people understand and bring the people a different level of consciousness into one. So you are converting a subjective theme into an objective. So that people with a lower level of consciousness can understand, appreciate, and say, yeah, this is what correct. So they get aligned with you. When you do that, and you see this is the where we are going and why we are going, and they like what you are saying, why, they know this is where we want to go, then the definition of right and wrong gets commonly understood. So if you want to know, from here I want to go to the Walmart, you have a clear direction where you want to go. But if somebody turns the car the other way around, you will immediately say, oh, this is not the right way. Or if somebody takes the other way around and says, I have to touch my room and then come there, okay, it's a longer route, but you will be there. So knowing which route is going where and how to reach the destination becomes easier for the large number of people who starts following you. And once you do that, employees become self-referral. They know how to reach there. Then you don't have to supervise them, guide them every now and then, do only this way. Allow their humanistic intelligence to take its own shape. And the consciousness gets together, not only yours, but hundreds of people around you, their consciousness join. And the size of your consciousness become group consciousness, collective consciousness. And the coherence and the super radiance that it generates removes the obstacles on your way. So first step toward leadership, clear image of what we seek in the long term, and ability to create unity in diversity. So now we move from the third box, which was known, what is the dream, what is the chandas, what is the object that you are seeking, to the first one, the knower, the seeker, the leader of our individual goals, you yourself, the rishi. This is where I like to draw some images. This is the universal consciousness. We can call it being. That's how Maharshi refers in science of being. Different people are with their consciousness at different levels. So I'm calling them three different individuals, A, B, and C. And you find their consciousness, there is nothing common. They are apart. So even if you get them together, they will not be able to work. They will fight it out. But when you increase your consciousness, instead of this angle, if you call it X, you expand your consciousness. And make a bigger angle. Now you find there is a little commonality. So that is what is the consciousness. You are in their consciousness and they are in your consciousness. And that's when the collective coherence happens of the consciousness. So bigger the angle that you project, you can keep on increasing this angle to a level when you are completely horizontal. Everybody is in your consciousness. That's what Maharshi was. When your consciousness increases to the size, when it is involving everybody, whole humanity, you are at the highest level of consciousness. You can call it Samadhi. Now what happens further on, if I simplify this diagram further, this particular projection is your physical space. What you see with the senses. And the remainder angle, if this angle is x, so 360 degree minus x. If x assume is 30 degree, 360 minus 30, that is 330 degrees, is the angle that you don't know about anything. That's this portion that you have no clue about, because your physical senses are taking you only in that space. With the expansion of your consciousness, you find that you are able to see far more of the world. The bigger the consciousness, the bigger you see is the projection and the bigger space that you can see in the physical sense. That sense which you cannot see by senses, but your mental competency and mental space grows. And you see more and more of the universe without actually using your sense. Your competency to see beyond what your eyes can see, ears can hear, goes far beyond that. That is the expansion of consciousness. Now, consciousness expands in two different ways. One is this angle. Second is the height. Higher the height, higher the level of universe you play. Lower the height, lower you play. So the lowest height is, I am bothered for self. But as you grow further on, you extend that. So this circle earlier was this small, now this becomes this big. And the concentric circle keeps on growing. So you can move from self to your family, to your friends, to your company, to your city, to your country, to the whole humanity. So larger the vision, deeper the vision, higher level you play automatically. So if in your consciousness you believe, I want to take care of this universe, you will play like Maharshi. Or if you say, I want to take care of myself, you will be right at the corner of it. The bigger your consciousness, higher the level of game that you play. So one needs to expand the consciousness, both angle and the depth. One is physical, second is mental, and the third depth. Actually these V, what shape we are seeing is a vortex. Not in 2D we are seeing it as a V, it is the vortex that moves across. And the stronger and the wider the vortex, the higher the level of universe that you play. So, this is what this space is called self with a small s. And the remainder 330 degree that you don't know is called capital S. Self. That's why we call lower self and the higher self. Higher level of consciousness, lower level of consciousness. I extend it further to what Maharshi says, and I believe this is self, and this, which we call the higher self, is nothing but others, other and non-humans, and the nature. So the wider you go open your consciousness, others are getting into your consciousness, you are in their consciousness. The more number of people think about you, easier to achieve your success.
Oh.
And when nature gets into your consciousness, ooh. So, in other words, this is also we call unmanifest. So the remainder part is unmanifest, other people, and that's one of the reasons why Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam means whole family, whole world is one family. Is a very famous quote from Bhagavad Gita. Whole family is one, is where everybody is joined. And when that gets into your consciousness, there is no differentiation whether I am gaining or you are gaining. And when you reach that status, doesn't matter who is gaining, as far as the universe of this people or the nature of the people are getting it, you become kind of Maharshi. So you need to increase your consciousness. There is a level to which you can raise your consciousness. But if you want to become a larger than life, then you need to go beyond this. So suppose you have extended your consciousness beyond this way and this way, what is the next? Next is get the people behind you so that collective consciousness is far bigger than your own consciousness. And that's where the vision comes into the play. Larger the vision, more the followers, bigger the collective consciousness. So what Maharshi has done, bringing so many people behind us, that people are doing the meditation, everybody wants this movement to succeed, and it could reach all the places in the world so quickly. And that even when he is gone, this vision is continuing. This is what the coherence continues to drive your vision even when you are not there, because the vision was much beyond self. So, important part of Rishi, know self. Unless you know yourself, how will you manage others? So know yourself, why you are seeking what you are seeking. And lead yourself, else it's like blind leading to another blind in a blind alley. This is how our universe looks like. There is a big universe around us. We see very small fraction of it. Rest all is unmanifest around us. Higher the consciousness, bigger the consciousness, higher level that you play in this universe. It's your choice. There is a very famous SCI principle. Life is found in the layers. Subtle the layers, livelier the life. So if you see in the river bed, there is a life at different layers. And as you go down and down, there is a more rich life. And if you go to the sea bottom, you find such a fantastic life out there, you can't even dream. So as you go down and down, subtle and subtle and subtle layers, you learn more and more livelier part of that life. So subtle layers are more abstract, more powerful, and more livelier. That's where the life comes. If you remain only at the surface level, oh, this is nice so far, you will stop by saying this is nice so far. But if you know as much detail what goes inside it, how it was made, who made it, a number of things that you start appreciating, you will know more about this subject. So your knowledge increases, your consciousness about the sofa is increasing. Explaining the same concept in a different way, there is a success. It's like an iceberg. What people see is only the thing which are outside the sea or water, and they believe you were lucky you got it. What they don't see is how much hard work, how much sacrifice, how much consciously paying and working for it you have spent nights and nights to make it happen. That they don't see. That is the hidden iceberg. And those are the subtle layers. When you evolve into consciousness, you start realizing those subtle layers. How do I achieve my dreams? And that's what is more powerful, more livelier. It's like an orange. The juice is at the center. The outer portions are bitter. But when you go into the finer layers, you find the sweet juice. So when you go down and you understand what the risk, what is the focus, what is the goal, all those subtle layers are opening, and that means you can achieve your success easily. But people will call you had a luck. So there is nothing called luck. It's the readiness meeting the opportunity. When you are ready for something, the opportunity comes. That's luck. And if you are strong enough, higher consciousness, when you are ready, nature will bring opportunity in front of you. So you create your opportunity. So you find that consciousness is growing with knowing the subtle layers. At the same time, your knowledge of the subject grows with the growing layers. And that's why Maharshi always called knowledge is structured in consciousness. When your consciousness is high, knowledge comes in front of you. Or when your knowledge is high, it means you have a higher level of consciousness for that particular topic. When your consciousness is high and there are a number of people who are lined up behind you, your consciousness becomes a group consciousness. In the universe, there is a plenty of consciousness which are floating across. And you have to find your place in that maze of consciousness. The larger your consciousness, bigger your consciousness, larger the chance of you surviving for the long. And when number of followers join you and the group consciousness enlarges, you find that you are passing through, and that is what is called the removal of obstacles. Just mere strength of your collective consciousness will remove many hurdles from your way. And that's what Maharshi calls the Messner effect. You create that impact where the waves are passing around you and not through the group. You convert a set of people into the team of people. Everybody directing towards the same goal. And this is why organization survives and sustain even in the bad time, where people are completely organized towards the goal. This is like what we were explaining here. So there is a log of the tree, you have a center. You are at the center for your dreams. Leader is at the center for the organization. And as you include more and more people into your consciousness, your employees, your partners, your vendors, your customers, even your competitors, you find the circle is enlarging. And the circle or the bigger outer concentric circle shows the potential profits that your organization can earn. So if you are working with yourself, you find your potential profit is only this much. But when number of people gets together, you find the potential profit has grown and the smaller share is bigger than what you will gain here. So we live in a myth that we will get the bigger share but of a smaller pie. Instead of a smaller share but a big pie. That's what the Vedic knowledge makes the difference. You start getting people together, you get far more profit and you get happiness together. This is what the geese flying together can achieve. When they fly together, they create a lift and they fly higher height than individually they can. And they keep rotating the leadership position. And they fly miles together in that formation. And that's what the joint together of belief in the leader and belief that he is going to take us to the right direction. Nobody questions the leader. Everybody just flies behind. So you find that longer distance you can fly is the effort of, what do I mean, sustainability. And sustainability is reverse of efforts. The more effort you apply to drive the engine of the company, lesser the life. The lesser the effort, longer the life. And less efforts comes, what Nicole says, do less, achieve more. And that comes by finding people automatically aligned to your vision rather than telling them how to go to the vision. So minimize the resistance and maximize the support. So when you are convinced this is the right thing to do, you came here, I don't have to canvas. Right? And things happen. Nature brought everything together. I doubt if we could have got this in the Professor Timaya was trying to arrange. So this is what nature does. You get the support of nature when you are in the right direction. So alignment of large number of small forces is what the leadership success is. And when it is real, it's effortless. Coming to the third part, how are we doing for the time?
We're good. We're good.
Okay. You have to go for your meditation, I thought.
Half hour.
Okay. So let's quickly see the third part, the process of knowing. Though the first and the third part, if you know, process will emerge in front of you. You don't have to worry. But everybody is not at that position where they knows what they are looking for. So there are certain guidelines which help you to achieve what you are looking for, even though you don't have a clarity what you are looking for. And that's what I call the central portion, the path to the success with the Vedic concepts. So chances are, if you know both hands, it will come automatically to you. But if you don't know both hands, but if you follow that path which is prescribed in multiple scriptures, chances are you are doing something right and you will reach somewhere even though you didn't have the clarity where you are going to. So that is there is a Chinese proverb, if you want 1 year of prosperity, grow the grains. If you want 10 years of prosperity, grow the trees. But if you want 100 years of prosperity, grow your people. That's what a leader should do. Instead of always chasing profits, invest your time, effort and resources to grow your people. So convince them that you are on the right track through the vision. 2, be the role model of that vision. And 3rd, invest in your people. And if you do that, you will have 100 years of prosperity. Means you will have a sustainable organization whether you are alive or not. Grow your people. And I believe this is where Maharshi lacked a bit. So in terms of path, it's called journey, it's called knowledge, it's called devta. They will unfold in front of you. In today's world, people are largely confused. Profit maximization is part of the destination, but they see it as a journey. And every transaction they try to maximize their gain. So if you and me are doing some transaction, I'm selling, you are buying, I want to maximize my profit, you want to maximize your profit. So that means only one can be winner. It's a win-lose game. If I win, you lose, and if you win, I lose. So we have lost the mutual trust to begin with. And when the trust is not there, in the dealing, he will try to make sure I don't run away with success. So he will be spending his efforts and consciousness to protect and little bit to the common purpose that we are together. Same thing I will do. It means our attention is divided and we will not achieve the full potential that we can achieve by working together and completely focusing on why we are together. So when you are protecting self, you are losing the common focus, common object. And the vision and your role modelship gives that sense to the people that their vision, their purpose will get achieved during the journey. And then the journey is what will give you the goal, profit maximization. Enjoy the journey. Don't keep on focusing on goal. Once you know the goal, focus on journey. So again, this is the image. We have seen the manifest and unmanifest. There are multiple implications in our day-to-day life of manifest and unmanifest. When you take an action, suppose I hit this table hard. One, it will move a bit. But more than that, there are multiple other actions. It will push a carpet, may drop something, will happen, and it continues the full circle and it comes back. We see only what our senses can allow us to see. But that action moves into the unmanifest. And in unmanifest, what happens is indirect and reflective actions. It meets so many other consciousness, it meets so many other objects on the way, it gets reflected, deflected, and somewhere it comes back to you. And what is that impact? Is a long-term impact. We ignore it. In corporate world, we call it far sight. Far sight. You can see, or foresight. You can see it beforehand. So far sight or foresight. In Vedic terms or in dictionary terms, we call it wisdom. Once you know the wisdom of when you just do this, what else can happen? You are far more conscious of your actions. And that's growth of your consciousness. So you become farsight, you have a foresight, and you will gain the wisdom as you grow into your consciousness. In our scientific world, we deal with one-to-one, very objective way. If you do this, this should happen. There should be a scientific proof, there should be experimental proof, it should be repeatable, and that's how we live. And it is so important that it should be there. Otherwise, today this house is having this shape, tomorrow you come back, it's looking in a different shape. You will not know where to go, what to do. So objectivity is must. But then there is a large part which is not objective, which is subjective. And that subjective world depends on what is your consciousness. And that's where in Vedic literature in many places we say outcome of any initiative depends on consciousness of the doer. If you do exactly same steps and I do some exactly same steps, we will get different results because our consciousness are different. Which is better, which is not better, that's our personal perspective. But they will be different. So you need to appreciate that this is a subjective world which is unmanifest. How does your action results into that space makes you intelligent to know how do you deal when you deal with your employees and you say go and do it. It's not simply go and do it. There is a far more that goes into their mind. And then they react to the situation when customer doesn't get happy and you lose sales and you ask your person why it's happening. Oh, you asked me to do it. I did it. Now you are responsible for the outcome. That's what happens. Whereas if you just tell this is my end target, this is my end objective, go and work it out. Now he owns the issue. He owns the objective. He will work out the best way to reach you there. And his success lies your success. That's how the wisdom gets used in the Vedic world. So, moving forward, this is the subjectivity that we need to incorporate into our day-to-day life. Unfortunately, the current modern world rejects the subjectivity on the grounds of objectivity. The very fact it's not objective, it's called subjective, and you are evaluating it with the principles and the knowledge that you have in the objective world. Where is the proof? Who said it? Show me. All those things that we ask is all our mind is geared up to the objective way of dealing with it. What you do with your employees is an investment of trust. When they start trusting you, that's when you get the return, and that's the profit maximization. So you invest into the people and their common alignment towards your vision is the return that you will get. And the higher the investment, better the number of people behind you, larger the group that is behind you, quicker the manifestation of your dream. There is a Vedic principle which Maharshi also teaches, give to get. Only when you give is when you get back. Whereas in modern principle, we say, what is in it for me to begin with? And if you ask to begin with, what is in it for me, you have lost the game. So you need to have a sense of giving, and then when you are in consciousness of so many people and the nature, you will get so much back, you won't know what to do with it. I chucked my job to come here. I didn't know what to do with my prosperity. So profit maximization becomes a win-lose game if it is in the journey, but profit maximization becomes the right philosophy if it is treated as the end goal. So running an organization should be very simple. Define your objective, define certain ground level principles, and that's how every decision in the organization should be taken up. So if your customers are number one, employees are number two, compliance is number three, any change that you want to make, see, is it good for customer? Yes, no. Is it good for employees? Yes, no. Is it good for compliance? Yes, no. If all three are no, junk the change. You don't need it. If it is beneficial to one of the three, by all means, management should spend time to do it properly. That saves a lot of time in unnecessary actions that you wish to do. So principles versus rules. You define certain principles, how the decisions are to be made, rather than telling them this is right, that is wrong. As you evolve in the principles guides you, rules constraints you. They tell you what not to do. Principles tell you how to move forward. So once you start living with the principles and you have a vision, you find employees themselves can take a decision which is very much what you would have taken in those situations. So you become omnipresent. Even though you are not physically there, employees start behaving as if you were there. So you become omnipresent and employees become the self-referral. And then these leaders, these sub-leaders who knows how to decide, they start pushing for the growth. And the organization grows manifold. The problem that you face in the current world, how do I do this resource, that resource, becomes the other way around. How do I handle the plenty of resources? Completely reverse. Yes, you will have challenge, but of a complete different variety. Employees, most of the corporate today treat them as a liability. They go on the expense side of the balance sheet, whereas they are your biggest asset. You treat them as a liability, they will be liability. You treat them as an asset, they will become an asset for the organization. And when you treat them as an asset, they will prove to be an asset. You have to maintain them, you have to keep them in good shape, you have to keep them with time, and they will prove the asset for you. So treat them as an asset and they will become one. Invest in their leadership. Invest in their skill of current and aspired role. Not only what they are doing today, you have to tell them so that they do it better, but the aspired role. And when you train them for the aspired role, whether it is in the organization or outside, they devote their heart and mind to it. And then what you get, the outcome of it, is manifold bigger than when you say, no, just spend 8 hours there and rest we don't know. Get their family behind them. And this is what I call the employee engagement. When two people working together, one can produce A, one can produce B. And when they work together, are producing more than A plus B. That is delta. That is the life. That is the life that you are adding to the relationship. That is the life that you are adding to the potential profits. And when that happens, when that life exists, you find in the culture. Any visitors coming to the organization feel that it's in the energy in the air. And employees love it. They come to the office not because they have to earn the salary. They come to the office because they enjoy working there. That is the delta. It can be reverse way where the joint output is less than what individually we could have produced. And that means you are taking the delta out. That's the life which have gone out. And the life goes out, it's the mundane work. Oh, Monday I have to go to the office. And Friday, wow, I'm done, week is over. All these are reactions because the life has been taken away from the corporate. You give them the freedom, you give them the flexibility, give them a sense of proudness what you are trying to achieve, and they will be so happy to work for you. So convert the subjectivity to objectivity, add the delta, work for the bigger masses, work for the employees, and you will achieve much bigger profits than you ever dreamt of. So in terms of very quickly summarizing it, what the characteristics of a Vedic leader? Passion and compassion for others. That's the consciousness, not for self. Inspiring vision of a dream destination which enthuses people. Intense focus on customer, not just what contractual value is, exceed their expectations. So customers should go around talking about you rather than you spending millions in advertisements. Empower the employees, convert them into teams, not just the set of people. Moral imperative, right and wrong behavior is what you have to guide them so that everybody decides same way as you would have. And a culture infusing coherence of collective consciousness, which is meeting human needs. Everybody wants to be understood and they believe they need appreciation. So you need to appreciate their efforts rather than criticize. Infuse a meaning in life and sense of belongingness. Learning organization with a healthy competition among the people, not with the outside. And when people are healthy competition inside, you will find outside competition has no meaning. And fun-filled, stress-free, family-like environment. People love to work there. And you should be a role model, sacrificing personal gain for the good of the organization. Yes, you have to. If you do that, you gain so much love, respect, and even material wealth. Much more than what you do it by chasing. So that's what in simple terms, Vedic leadership. It's a higher sustainable performance with happiness all around. And recipe for fulfilling your dreams and desires.